All right, let's move on to our math journal. Have your math journal open to page 238 and 239. We're going to do some of these together. When I write on my math journal page, please make sure you're writing in your math journal as well. The directions at the top of the page say, the Hillside Elementary School Walking Club meets every Monday after school. The table below shows how far some students walked in their last meeting. We have 6 students across the top. And then we have their distances that they walk each time they go to the walking club meet. Number 1 says Katie walks the same distance at every meeting. Find out how far she will walk after 2 meetings. So that's our question. Find out how far she will walk after 2 meetings. Well, here's 1 meeting for Katie. So it says that you should draw a picture. So I'm going to draw how I would represent 2/3, but then I have to do it 2 times to represent 2 meetings. So I'm going to draw 1 circle to represent the first meet that she goes to. And then I'm going to divide my circle into thirds the best I can. Each piece represents 1/3. So during the first meeting, Katie walks 2/3, so 2 of these pieces. Then same thing during their second meeting. 1/3 and 1/3 together make 2/3. So, how far does she walk after 2 meetings? So that is like saying 1/3 plus 1/3 plus 1/3 plus 1/3. That should equal 4/3. Now you'll notice 4/3, that's what we call an improper fraction. So how would we change that to a mixed number? We'd ask ourselves, how many times does 3 go into 4? 3 goes into 4 1 time, and then there is 1 left over, and then 3 remains as your denominator. So how far does she walk after 2 meetings? I would say 1 1/3 miles. Then it says, write a multiplication equation to show that same thing. So I would write 2 to represent the 2 meetings times 1/3 of a mile that she walks at each meet. Then multiply. Put my 2 over 1, multiply at the top. Oh, I see what I did. This is supposed to be a 2 up here. 2/3. She walks 2/3 of a mile at each meet. So let me change that real quick. So then I can multiply at the top. 2 times 2 is 4. 1 times 3 is 3. That matches what we said up here. She walks 4/3 miles, which when converted to a mixed number is 1 1/3 miles. Then we have to tell between what 2 whole numbers does your answer lie. I'm going to change my color. And I would say my answer, 1 1/3, falls between 1, because if you round it down to the next whole number, that would be 1. But if I round it up to the next whole number, that would be 2, because 1 1/3 is more than 1, but less than 2. All right, let's move on. Question number 2 says, Jack walks the same distance at every meeting. Find out how far he will walk after 4 meetings. I need to flip back, and it says Jack walks 5/6 miles at every meeting. So I want to remember that. Jack walks, I'm going to write 5/6 miles, since I don't have that chart on this page. So we want to find out how far he walks after 4 meetings. So if we drew a picture there, we would need to draw 4 circles, but then we would have to represent 5/6 each time. Now, dividing a circle into 6 can be a little bit tricky, but I'm going to try it. Here's the first meeting, the second meeting, the third meeting, and the fourth meeting. Now I need to divide it into 6 equal parts. So I would do a middle and then an X the best I could. Do that with yours now. Cut the circle across the middle and then an X. Try to make your sections as close to the same size as possible. You should have 6 total pieces within each circle, and you should have a total of 4 circles to represent the 4 different meets that Jack goes to. Now we need to color in 5/6 of each circle, so 5 out of the 6 pieces. So this would be like 1/5, 2/5, 3/5, 4/5, 5/5, or 5/6. Then second meet, 1/6, 2/6, 3/6, 4/6, 5/6. Then 1/6, 2/6, 3/6, 4/6, and 5/6. Then here's your last meeting. Remember, this is the first meeting, the second meeting, the third meeting, and the fourth meeting. At the fourth meeting, again, 1/6, 2/6, 3/6, 4/6, and 5/6. Now to decide how far that is total, you can just count them all up. We know this is 1/6, 2/6, 3/6, 4/6, 5/6, 6/6, 7/6, 8/6, 9/6, 10/6, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So if you add them all up, your answer is going to be 26, which is definitely an improper fraction. But let's go ahead and write our multiplication equation up here. We knew we had 4 meets or meetings, and at each meet, Jack walks 5/6 miles, so almost a whole mile each time. Then we can put that whole number over 1 and then multiply at the top. 4 times 5 is 20. Then 1 times 6 is 6. And that's the answer we got down at the bottom, so we know we're right. What we need to do is convert that 26 into a mixed number. So you have to ask yourself, how many times does 6 go into 20? Well, if you count by 6s, you can get 3 6s, because 3 6s is 18. But 4 6s would be 24, and that'd be too much. So 6 goes into 20 3 times, because 3 times 6 is 18, and then the difference between 18 and 20 is 2, with a denominator of 6. Now that could be reduced down even further, but if you got your answer to 3 and 2/6 miles, I would definitely accept that. Then again, you have to tell between what 2 whole numbers does your answer lie. So think about it, 3 and 2/6. It's more than 3, but less than 4. 3 and 2/6 falls between the whole numbers 3 and 4. All right, now we're going to move on to your part of the lesson. Remember, if you have not filled in your math journal, you can always pause the video right now and fill in parts A, B, C, and D for question number 2. Because if you have that written in your notebook or your journal, It's going to help you with your part that you have to do by yourself. And the part you have to do by yourself is on the next page. You're going to do number 3, where it talks about Maria, so a different student who walks the same distance at every meeting, but you have to find out how far she's going to walk after 7 meetings. Now, you don't have to draw a picture for this one. You can just write a multiplication equation, so 7 times the distance that she walks. Make sure that you convert that into a mixed number if your answer ends up being an improper fraction, and then tell what 2 whole numbers your answer falls between. Then for question number 4, it says, if at every meeting they walk the same distance shown in the table, who walks the greater distance? Mafera after 6 meetings or Nikhil after 4 meetings. So you have to decide, how far does Mafera walk after 6 meetings and how far does Nikhil walk after 4 meetings? So you have to decide, after working it out, who walks the greater distance and then how much more. To find how much more, you have to find the distance for Mafera and Nikhil. Then how much more means you need to subtract or find the difference between the two. Where it says part C, that's where you can show all your work. You can take for Mafera 6 times her distance, and then for Nikhil, 4 times their distance, and then show the subtraction part. I will be asking you to show me all of these answers on the Google form today, so make sure that you work out all parts. After question number 4, I'm going to have you skip question number 5, so you can put an X through question 5. But you do need to make sure you solve question number 6 and question number 7, because question 6 and question 7 will also be on the Google form for today. If you would like to try the number 8, try this section, you may, but I am not requiring it, and there will not be a question for it on the Google form. It's like a challenge if you're ready to test your brain. So now you need to pause your video, answer questions 3 and 4, and then questions 6 and 7, and then transfer those answers onto the Google form. Once you're done with the journal page, go back and there'll be another video for the math boxes for this lesson.